Hello, Professor Alvarez. Here is my presentation on my multicultural campaign critique and strategic recommendations about the FDA's smoking campaigns. So in the first slide, the FDA, in my opinion, had a systematic approach to their campaigns, and that was to organize their audiences into segments based on several factors: age, cultural, and sexual orientation. Most of the campaigns are several years old, and it shows when compared to discussions that younger adults are currently having about diversity, equity, and inclusion. What these four campaigns lack, in my opinion, are intersectionality and acknowledging that the intended young audiences includes multiple parts. So not just one identity all the time, as we discussed in our learning materials. And the basic information and the overall approach from these campaigns was to prevent smoking. They segmented their audiences into groups, they tailored their messages, and they also tailored their messages into audience segments based on socioeconomic and geographic divides, which we will talk about later. So how was each campaign tailored? There were four campaigns: The Real Cost, The Fresh Empire, This Free Life, and Every Count Tries, or Every Try Counts. To me, the most inclusive, appropriate campaign out of the four were The Real Cost and Every Try Counts. They both segmented the audiences based on age. However, they included all races, ethnicity, culture, language, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The problems with the ads that were aimed at the young teens, to me, is that it felt extremely too contrived. So the FDA is marketing this campaign to trying too hard to be relatable to their desired demographic. And in my opinion, it backfired in some instances. In the next few slides, I'll show examples of each campaign and talk about what worked and what didn't as it relates to our course material this semester. So the first campaign we'll discuss is The Real Cost. The FDA wanted to reach rural and suburban teens ages 13 to 17 with this marketing campaign, but in my opinion, they tried a little too hard to be relatable, and it came back as cheesy and unauthentic. The Instagram account does have a lot of followers, but there were many trolls and negative responses. There weren't many vanity metrics as far as likes or comments. The highlight of the campaign, in my opinion, were the YouTube videos. The short videos on the Instagram channel, some of them were really horrible, in my opinion. They compared nicotine to being addicted or possessed by something. Not a lot of engagement on the Twitter either. I think ads can do better in this campaign, Real Cost, by showing more teens, showing people with disabilities in different races, cultures, and again, gender intersectionality. The next ad was Fresh Empire. While I applaud the overall goal, now in 2022, this campaign takes an almost tone-deaf approach, in my opinion. So segmenting hip hop culture like this seems very unauthentic, and it doesn't include enough diversity within that culture. So we don't see any subcultures, we just see maybe a biased look of what we feel is hip hop culture around the United States. And is it fact or is it bias that teens within the hip hop culture were at greater risk for tobacco use? They stated that in their facts and figures sheets on their website, but I think they need to explain that more. So does it have to also focus on hip hop, or can we simply focus ads tailored to youth of color? And that's my opinion on that one. For This Free Life, it launched in 2016, and the FDA reported that LGBTQ plus young adults were nearly twice as likely to use tobacco than other young adults, which they said ultimately resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of youth. The flawless video that they showed, and I've posted here, but I'm not going to play, was very authentic in my opinion. It showed a lot of diversity with participants, and is it related to age, gender, and culture in this video. Other campaigns could reflect this and do really well. The campaign should utilize updated social media platforms in 2022, such as TikTok. So they had very colorful ads. Again, it was launched in 2016, lots of intersectionality with age, gender, etc. The next ad is Every Try Counts. So I believe the overall marketing tactics in this particular campaign of using digital ads at gas stations was a really novel idea. However, one recommendation I would say is to also advertise it on Facebook. That is where a large population of people in this desired demographic, the age demographic was 33 to 55, those are the key ages that are on Facebook, so it could have been marketed there as well. The FDA should take into account, though, acculturation that we've learned in our meetings this semester. In my opinion, there are many cultures where smoking is still seen as okay, and we see many people migrate to the United States every year. So having more diverse ads in languages other than just Spanish and English, or seeing cultures where smoking, where they're coming to the United States, was acceptable and then it was a different culture, that might be helpful. What I did appreciate about this particular campaign is how they reframed failure. I believe that the reframing failure can be used in other campaigns as well and be really productive. I did appreciate, I thought it was interesting, the overlap in one of the posters that I saw, which at first I thought was part of their this is the free life, this free life campaign, because it showed what I'm assuming are two people who identify as women, but it's actually part of the Every Try Counts campaign. So I thought it was good that there was some intersectionality on both of these campaigns in this one poster, and I think they can do better and do more of that. So for my recommendations, I kind of focused on this Free Life campaign and the Real Cost campaign based on some recent articles that I've seen. I've been doing some research on. The campaigns should utilize more popular social media platforms that younger audiences are using, like TikTok. Although the FDA says they strive to be inclusive, there is never any representation of people with disabilities in any of these advertisements. So to me, it's like indicating that people with disabilities don't smoke, and it's completely missing out on a whole diversity of people. For this Free Life, needs to be on TikTok. Campaign should be more inclusive of subgroups within the LGBTQ plus population. And there could be more ads with people who identify about gender identity, I think. And there could even be surveys to see which gender identity people might feel more comfortable with. And out of those genders, who tend to smoke more. And there could be maybe tailored ads to those subgroups. The Real Cost needs to have updated ads videos on TikTok as well, need to create an app for younger demographics. So I feel like we could create an app that could be used in high schools to really get good quality surveys and feedback from teenagers who actually are smoking. And they wouldn't look as staged or contrived in the advertisement to stop smoking. And again, zero representation of any teenagers with disabilities. So that's a problem. I picked two recommendation examples I thought were done really well in the marketing world. One is from a few years ago, and here are my resources that I was looking at. There were several blogs about diversity and inclusion in social media. It was really interesting. So one is for Target, and it was taken by a mom. I think it was 2017. And when I saw it again doing my research, I remembered how much I loved it. So it was organic. It wasn't even an ad, but it garnered so much attention when this little boy saw somebody who looked just like him. And this other one I found today, actually, when I was looking for good examples of diversity and what worked well with companies, was from Gillette. And they've been doing really cutting edge advertising for several years now. But I feel like this could be used as an example for what the FDA could potentially do. They could even do like a documentary style where they interview people who have lost loved ones to smoking. They can make it more serious. It doesn't have to be gimmicky. So I am going to play this one from Gillette really quick.
Growing up, I was always trying to figure out what kind of man I wanted to become, and I'm still trying to figure out what kind of man that I want to become. I always knew I was different. I didn't know that there was a term for the type of person that I was. I went into my transition just wanting to be happy. Glad I am at the point where I'm able to shave. South, south, north, north, east, west, never in a hurry. Right.
Walk. Now don't be scared. Be scared. Shaving is about being confident. Oh, you're doing fine. You're doing fine.
I'm at the point in my manhood where I'm actually happy. It's not just myself transitioning, it's everybody around me transitioning.
Anyway, I loved that commercial. It is marketing, but they did their research and they put the time and effort in to find somebody that represented diversity. And I feel like those ads are better than the kind of gimmicky ads of being possessed by a demon. It just fell flat for me. So that's it. Thanks so much.